It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
For those of you who are downloading this off iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google+, Google Play, Audio Boom, SoundCloud, etc., this is episode number 203. Recorded on the 9th of November, 2017. For those of you who are joining me tonight on Liberty One TV, hello. Glad to have you part of this great video podcast. If you're not a member, please become one. It's really inexpensive. It's only 33 cents a day. That is $10 a month, $99 a year. Could be the perfect Christmas present, right? Anyway, join and do that. Then over here, you'll notice I've got some politically incorrect designs in my swag line, including some new Christmas stuff, including I Say Merry Christmas, Deal With It. You see the website there, tpublic.com/user/conservatees. Order something. Order a sweatshirt. Order a onesie. Order a T-shirt. Order a hoodie. Order whatever. You can have it on a laptop case. Whatever you want. Ideal for Christmas. Politically incorrect designs, and there's 65 of them. Joining me on the phone, a buddy of mine, Chris Butler, who is an investment advisor and also is part of the Free Market Underground. Facebook at Free Market Underground. Hello there, Chris. How you doing today, my friend?
Good, Rob. How are you?
Good. I was mentioning that you are in Pittsburgh right now as we speak, which I understand has just become like the number one destination for retirees in the country right now, right?
That is right, and it's easy to see because they have a lot of really great medical facilities here, as well as a lot of museums. There's a lot to do here.
Absolutely, and of course, Permane Brothers sandwiches, which might require might require you to go to a medical institution if you have a couple of those. So
I don't want to make that a full-time diet.
Yeah, now let's talk a little bit, first of all, about the Republican and Democrat tax plan. Actually, I really don't want to talk about the Democrat tax plan because basically it's a bunch of crap, and they want to kill the Republican corporate income tax if the decrease if the economy doesn't recover a certain way, and we already know it is. So let's just talk about what's on the table as far as the Republican plan right now.
Well, we're seeing details out of the Senate right now that would suggest that we're going to wait for a year to get that corporate tax rate down to 20%, and stock market's not liking it. In fact, just about every stock market index is down about 1%, and it reflects the fact that the market was expecting increased profits next year, and if that's not going to be the case, then it must go down.
I don't get it. I don't understand why it's difficult to understand. We have the highest corporate income tax in the world. It's keeping businesses offshore. It's keeping money offshore. The reaction, if it actually happened immediately, I believe the impact on the economy would be immediate as well, Chris. I don't understand this. Yep. I understand the Democrat side. It's all about big corporations getting tax cuts. Well, you know what? People work for big corporations. People work for corporations there, Chris. So it's just
it's a big part of our economy. Corporations are the largest part of our economy.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, they do hire people, they make profits, and then they spread those profits around. Absolutely, it matters. And I think the reason making these cuts, I don't know why they're making that cut out of the House plan specifically, Rob, but I do think that this nonsense of trying to make tax cuts pay for themselves leads you down these particular paths.
Yeah.
And that's what they're running up against. How do we get it to pay for itself?
Yeah, you cut spending. That's how you get it to pay. Yeah, it's bull crap. It's absurd on the face of it. Tax cuts paying for themselves. It's an idiotic phrase developed by Democrats. I can't stand it. The proposed cut in the amount of interest on mortgages is causing all sorts of problems. What is the issue there? I know there's a limit on the amount of interest you can write off, as far as the size of the mortgage balance. Tell me what else is going on.
Right. Well, the cap was previously $1 million. They've taken that down to $500,000 mortgage in the House plan, which means that you could only deduct interest on your income taxes from your mortgage if that mortgage balance was less than $500,000. And that, to answer the question, how will this impact the housing market, I think is almost negligible.
Really?
However, you are starting to hear people say, look, this is really going to hurt all of the housing markets in the United States that are in a bubble, to which I say, well, then maybe they will become more affordable.
Yeah. I can see what you mean, $500,000. Most Americans have a house that's worth far less. You don't buy houses for the tax break. You enjoy the tax break up to $500,000. So I understand where you're coming from. Let's talk a little bit about public pensions. They're in trouble, and taxpayers are pushing back. Why don't you explain what's going on there?
Well, it's the public, and to be specific, I want to say the public pension system is in trouble, and it's because they have overpromised and underfunded for years and years and years and years, and now they're figuring out that there's almost nothing else they can do except go to the taxpayer and say, you need to bail us out. This is happening all over the United States, and in fact, there was just a bill proposed by a Democrat senator which would essentially say that they could borrow from the Treasury, these pensions that are in trouble, at an extra low interest rate, which means that the rest would be funded by me and you. And we have been screaming that these things have been underfunded and overpromised for decades. And finally, we're going to be told that we have to foot the bill for it.
Yeah. Well, certainly there are states that are in worse trouble than others. And they, and I got to tell you, there is a major difference between the public and private sector. And the public sector has always lived high on the hog, and the rest of us have had to kind of eat it. And bureaucrats have bought votes with these promises of lifetime pensions and all this that have gone by the wayside in the private sector by and large. Not a surprise.
And some of these public sector pensions, the amount like $100,000 a year plus, do not reflect, as you say, anything in the private sector, not in the numbers, the sheer numbers anyway. And yet we're being told that we, the taxpayer, who don't work for state or the feds, are going to have to foot the bill for some very lavish pensions. I think there's going to be a little bit of pushback here.
Yeah, I think so, too. Let's move on to the Paradise Papers. I don't know about this. Why don't you explain to me what this is all about? I know some big names as far as celebrities are concerned.
Yeah, the Paradise Papers was basically, just like the Panama Papers, disclosed a Bermuda law firm, all of its clients, that took advantage of trust structures for privacy reasons and for tax mitigation purposes. But it's important to know that everything done was legit and legal. And now you've got people like Madonna, Bono, Keira Knightley. Those types of people are having to defend, which is kind of funny. These people don't really understand what their advisors have done for them, but it's put them in a position where they have to defend the actions of their advisors who did absolutely nothing wrong or illegal. So it's the same thing that we saw at the Panama Papers, Rob, and the part that I hate about it is totally based on class warfare.
Yeah, it is.
It's class envy. That's really all it is. Class envy.
It is. We got a lot of that going on these days, particularly from the left side of the political equation, even though they like to hang out with those people and sexual molesters like Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein, So finally, Trump's trip to China and China, he's in China. It's already having some economic impacts. And I got to tell you just real quick, I'm impressed with the man over there. I'm impressed with, I've never seen anyone be able to finesse the Chinese in such a way. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's in China. What you take away from it is that part of his Asian leg, I think, by and large, has been successful. He's been able to articulate the American position without offending the Chinese. In fact, in some of his comments, if anything, he's offended former U.S. leaders. And made a joke of their previous trade policies. Now, what he was able to do, Rob, and I think this is important, was secure $250 billion worth of promises to the U.S. and corporations in the U.S., but I don't know exactly how much, and no one really does yet. No one knows exactly how much of that was already baked in the cake, how much we already knew, how much of it is new, and how much of it comes relatively soon. Because it would be easy to make the Chinese president look good and the American president look good by promising a bunch of stuff that may or may not actually happen. So we don't really know just how much this is worth. But I say, but 2 thumbs up. I mean, coming away with any kind of deal is a plus, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, listen, Chris, I do greatly appreciate you joining me. Make sure to follow you on Facebook, Facebook at Free Market Underground. We do a video together every couple of weeks on there, and then of course you get a lot of great financial news and whatnot. Also, tell everybody the name of your firm's website, please.
Yeah, that is Butler Lands and Wagler, and we are found at blwinvestments.com.
All right, Chris, nice talk to you. We'll talk to you again next week, buddy.
Thanks, Rob.
All right,
Appreciate it.
take care. Okay, that's Chris Butler. Again, he's a great guy, and I would definitely check out Free Market Underground. It is a very nice website. I'm helping Chris to build a presence on the web, and I think you would really enjoy being a friend on Facebook. Okay, let's move on to other stuff. Did you go out and scream at the sky because you're a Democrat yesterday? Did you do that yesterday? I put a bunch of material on. Let me make this a little bigger so you can see the number. There you go. I played several groups of people on my Facebook and my Twitter feeds. People who went out in cities like New York and Philadelphia. Some of these places, only a couple people showed up. And these people who went out and did this are like children. They're like little children. If you've ever been in a grocery store and you've got a toddler and they want a candy bar, they throw a tantrum. So what happened yesterday was stupid. It was embarrassing. It was childish. If you are a member of the Democrat Party and you're down with this, you are an effing moron. Honestly, to go scream at the sky like this is hysterical, bordering on mental illness. Here is my scream at the sky montage from yesterday.
3, 2, 1. We refuse to accept a fascist America. What a maroon. What an ignoramus.
Wow, you know what? No words. But these are the same people who brought you the Antifa, right? Just childish, idiotic snowflakes from hell. Here's a guy, I believe this is in Denver, a guy videotaping these idiots screaming at the sky helplessly and commenting on it. It's hilarious.
You hear that, kids? That's the sound of the Democrat Party dying.
What a bunch. I mean, honestly, can we just effing be adults here? Can we just be effing adults, for crying out loud? Just absolutely ridiculous. But there you go. That's your Democrat Party, folks. That is your Democrat Party. Oh, by the way, hold on. Well, my Christmas music doesn't want to work. I want to talk a little bit about the Al Green. I almost said the Reverend Al Green. Al Green is this guy who he's a Democrat, and he is a Texas Democrat. He is a House member, and he is calling, like so many, for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Now he's saying he wants it done by Christmas. He wants it done by Christmas. This is all he wants for Christmas, just an impeachment of Donald Trump. Al Green is an idiot. Al Green is a buffoon and a fool, and the reason why he's doing this is because he wants to get notice. Here is Al Green yesterday on the floor of the House calling for Trump's impeachment by Christmas.
Mr. Speaker, I refuse to accept
There we go.
hatred.
Ah.
I refuse to acquiesce to any forms of bigotry.
Like the Christmas music here.
Mr. Speaker, because I rise to reject these things,
Ah.
I now announce
Yes, sir.
that before Christmas,
Yes, sir.
there will be a vote
Yeah.
on the chief inciter of racism, bigotry, hatred, xenophobia, sexism, ethnocentrism. There will be a vote in the U.S. House of Representatives, Mr. Speaker, on the impeachment of the president.
Of the president. Ha, 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 ha. He's being impeached for racism and sexism and what the hell else? Is that impeachable? And what has he done to... Did he a bill to kill all homosexuals and black people? I mean, what? Here's a little bit more. He said the voices calling for impeachment are growing, ladies and gentlemen.
These articles of impeachment have been circulated, and we're giving people an opportunity to respond. Momentum is building, Mr. Speaker. The momentum is building. More people favor impeachment than not. Momentum is building. People should weigh in. They should let others know how they feel about impeachment. They should let others know how they feel about the chief inciter.
Chief inciter.
Of all of these.
Chief, did he say inciter or insider? I don't know. Maybe could have been one or the other. Yeah.
Actions by way of persons responding to the chief inciter.
The chief inciter. That's his new thing. The chief inciter. Oh, this guy is such a buffoon. All right, here's one more cut from, not the Reverend. That would be an insult. It's just Al Green. He's a doofus.
And while I have been told that there are political consequences for what I will do.
Now, there are no political consequences that are negative for this a-hole, all right? The only political consequences there are is elevating him in the Democrat Party, all right? That's the only political consequences he faces.
I accept the consequences.
Yeah.
I accept the consequences because I was not born in Congress. I wasn't born to be a congressman.
Yes. That's clear.
I'm a child of God.
He's a child of God is what he is. Well, that's what they want for Christmas. And, unfortunately, it's not going to happen because you've got to be nice and not naughty, you see. If you're naughty, no Christmas presents for you, okay? No Christmas presents for you, Al Green, you doofus. So, Rand Paul, I don't know why we have, this is not a story. We've got a United States senator being tackled in his yard, had 5 ribs broken, fluid on the lungs. That's the latest. This would have been a life-threatening situation. It was a life-threatening situation. They were able to, thanks to American medicine, were able to, to take care of this. But this is a big story that nobody is following. Rand Paul's neighbors are calling into question reports suggesting the Kentucky senator's character and libertarianism contributed to one member of their community allegedly attacking him. The longtime neighbor is Rene Boucher, who has been called a socialist. He's a Democrat. He's faced a 4th-degree assault. Okay. Got out on $7,500 bail. In a recent USA report, the developer of the neighborhood said that Boucher's been a near-perfect neighbor, and that the libertarian politician is a different story. This is what the development director says, okay? The person who built the development, I guess. Says there have been disagreements in the past over lawn clippings or who should cut down a tree branch when it stretched over property lines. The neighbors disagree. As a friend and neighbor of the Paul family, I have been disturbed by the inaccuracies in numerous media accounts of the assault that occurred on the 3rd of November. This is according to Travis Creed. He's a neighbor. He says the stories of the landscaping dispute or a dispute of any sort between Rand Paul and Rene Boucher are erroneous and unfounded. The reason for Mr. Boucher's bizarre attack is known only to him. Statements to the contrary are irresponsible and unnecessary. Speculation regarding Boucher's motive, Creed says, has led to an unfair characterizations of the Pauls and their home. They've been great neighbors. They take pride in their property. This is one of the neighbors. Okay? You've got Denny Renshaw, another neighbor, has been next to the Pauls for 17 years. Renshaw is appalled by the attack. He says it's so wrong for anyone to be blindsided and attacked while mowing the yard. I can't imagine being in my yard, pulling weeds, or mowing and being violently attacked by anyone, much less by my neighbor. The fact that he's out on $7,500 bail is outrageous. Alicia Stivers, she says, as neighbors and close personal friends of the Pauls for a quarter of a century, I've never heard Senator Paul speak of an unkind word to anyone, let alone become physically violent, which makes it all the more shocking that a next-door neighbor of many years, who has not so much as exchanged an email or spoken word with Rand in several years, would race downhill and pummel Rand from behind. Between us, my husband and I have served 4 years in the Neighborhood Homeowners Association. We are unaware of any conflict or complaints from Dr. Boucher regarding the Pauls. Whatever the reason for the attack on Rand, there is absolutely no justification for Dr. Boucher's behavior. Sean River has also served on River Green's Homeowners Association board for several years. Calls the Pauls very gracious and friendly. We've never had any complaints regarding the Pauls from Mr. Boucher or anyone. Apparently, the Pauls throw the Paul family football game. It's an annual tradition. According to Kevin and Diana Kelly, we commend Rand for balancing his demanding political role with his role as a neighborhood and friend. Never too busy to stop while on walks with Kelly or to wave as he rides his bicycle around the neighborhood or his mower on his yard. Boucher is a registered Democrat. Now, there have been a lot of attacks, mass shootings by Democrats. They're all done by Democrats. We had a Republican baseball game practice shot up by a liberal Democrat. A Bernie Sanders supporter. People have been whipped into a frenzy with regard to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a Nazi. Donald Trump is a white supremacist. And here you've got a Republican congressman. The Republican Congress, it's full of white supremacists. It's full of Nazis. I think this was a political attack. I really do. I don't know if it was meant to be an assassination, but it certainly was an attack, and I do believe it was based on his politics. I think this son of a bitch ought to go to jail for a while. I think he ought to go to jail for a long while, actually. New piece I saw in Breitbart, 27 excuses Hillary Clinton has made for her 2016 election loss. I'll just go through, a few of them, but this is literally, and there's one that's missing, and I'll get to that in a second. James Comey, the FBI, Vladimir Putin, the Russians, WikiLeaks, low information voters, the Electoral College, Steve Bannon, anti-American forces, everyone who predicted she'd win. Okay. Polls, Green Party candidate Jill Stein, President Barack Obama, white women. Where are the white women at? The New York Times, Bernie Sanders supporters, misogyny or sexism. Facebook, campaign finance, the media, women who didn't vote, white voters, Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, men. The only thing she didn't vote was, or didn't include there, was the fact that she was a suck-ass candidate. It's a terrible candidate. Terrible candidate. This is pretty interesting. There's all this talk about sexual harassment in Hollywood. Also going on at the, I do believe it is happening in Washington, D.C. You've got two people, Chuck Grassley and Chuck Schumer, two Chucks, and they both are wanting training on sexual harassment to come to the Capitol. What does that mean? There's sexual harassment at the Capitol. That's what it means. There's sexual harassment at the Capitol, okay? My microphone just slipped. So there is sexual harassment at the Capitol right now. You've got it at state houses. I've been doing a radio show in Phoenix on KFYI. Massive sex scandal going on down there. It's happening in state houses around the country. California, Missouri, all of them. Because they live by a different set of rules than you and I do. Remember when, do you remember the Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill hearing when Clarence Thomas was being voted on to be a Supreme Court Justice? And Anita Hill said that he made rude jokes and he talked about a pubic hair on a Coke can. Very mild by comparison to Harvey Weinstein, Bill Clinton, and others. But we had to go through all the sex training videos, the sexual harassment videos. Did you have to do that whenever you get a job? You have to watch a sexual harassment video. You have to sign that you will not sexually harass and all that crap. Well, there are some people who just live above us. They live above us. They live in the, they breathe higher air than you and I do. Those people are people in Hollywood, and those people are people in politics. They both wield a lot of power, and they both tell us to live by a different standard. In Hollywood, you should drive a little car, and you should love the environment by using poison light bulbs. And they ride in limousines, and they go on yachts, and they have multiple houses. The same goes for Washington D.C. They want you to fly economy while they fly in private jets. They want you to live in a small house while they have multiple houses with carbon footprints 10 times the normal house. They ride in motorcades. Same goes with their moral standard. You people, you little people, sexual harassing. We're gonna make this a deal. We're gonna bring up sexual harassment training here, but we're gonna live by a different standard. Same goes, I guess, for Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly had a deal with 21st Century Fox. that he couldn't be fired or over unproven sexual harassment allegations, a fresh revelation that cast doubt over corporate governance standards at Fox. O'Reilly's contract said he couldn't be dismissed based on an allegation unless it was proven in court. Now, okay, I get that, right? But O'Reilly paid Liz Weil $32 million to keep her out of court. So as far as that's concerned, paying $32 million to Fox News didn't mean to her, didn't mean a thing to Fox News because it didn't go to court. She wanted to go to court. She settled out of court. Guys, what the hell do you get? What did he do for $32 million? $32 million is not a swat on the ass. $32 million is not just, you look pretty hot today. Stephen Barnett, professor of communications, University of Westminster. It's another nail in the standards coffin as far as Fox is concerned. It speaks volumes about the nature of the company. If you can pile up multiple accusations, it'd be protected by such a clause. Normally, a business wouldn't allow itself to be forced to keep an employee on payroll whose alleged behavior had brought it public disrepute, and it did. But that's a way the O'Reilly clause amounted to in practice. Since he had the wherewithal to pay virtually any amount to settle the claim out of court, the only way Fox would have been able to fire him is if the accuser had refused on principle and went to court. So there you go. It's like Weinstein. It's just like Weinstein. Yesterday, Heather Unruh, I believe it's Unruh, she's a former anchor at WCVB in Boston, and her son is 18 years old. Was 18 years old when Kevin Spacey molested him. Now, I heard my buddy Chris Plant talking about this guy this morning. And he said, the kid's 18 years old. Why didn't he just give the kid the elbow? Pardon me. Why didn't he just, punch him, whatever? Kevin Spacey, a very powerful person. Kevin Spacey, a very big person. I'll tell you as something, I'm going to tell you something right now that I don't believe I've ever admitted on air. When I was 18 years old, I went to university, and there was an instructor there. And as part of the major, I had two majors, and he was the head of one major. And this man, on repeated occasions, made very, very serious sexual advances on me, shutting his office door and approaching me, getting face-to-face with me. And I rejected his advances, but I was afraid I would lose my major. He would punish me somehow, and I didn't say a damn thing about it. Was I big enough to take him? Yeah, I was probably big enough to take him. I could have taken him. But I guess I was afraid. Sorry. It was humiliating. I was a naive kid from Iowa. I was a kid who lived up in a town of 1,000 people. I worked farm work my entire life. I'd never had anything like this happen before. He just made very sexual advances at me. He just made me feel really, really uncomfortable. Weird to share that as a man. It's humiliating, and I just wanted you to know it. So that's why somebody 18 years of age, male or female, would do that. Hell, Terry Crews, the actor, was groped by a major director in Hollywood, or agent, I don't remember, and even Stephen, he didn't do anything about it. And Terry Crews could take on anybody, but he was probably afraid because he's on his way up in Hollywood. Didn't want to destroy his chances. Now he's speaking out. I want to play a couple sound bites from Heather Unruh about Kevin Spacey and her 18-year-old son.
In July 2016, actor Kevin Spacey has sexually assaulted my son. It happened late night inside the Club Car Restaurant and Bar on Nantucket Island. The victim, my son, was a starstruck, straight, 18 young man who had no idea that the famous actor was an alleged sexual predator or that he was about to become his next victim.
I, as a father, would take the opportunity to meet Mr. Spacey, whether that be have my son call Mr. Spacey, arrange a meeting in a hotel room when Kevin gets there, my son's not there, and Kevin and I proceed to duke it out, and I beat the holy shit out of him. That's what would happen if it was my 18-year-old son. I'm not so I don't know where Dad is here. I'm really not sure. Here is Heather talking about how the kid lied about his age. He said he was 21 years old. So Kevin Spacey, of course, immediately got him drunk.
My son was not of legal age to drink alcohol. He told Kevin Spacey that he was of legal age. But whether he was over 21 or not, Kevin Spacey had no right to sexually assault him. There was no consent. Kevin Spacey bought him drink after drink after drink. And when my son was drunk, Spacey made his move and sexually assaulted him.
But it doesn't matter. You know why? Because he's a man, right? Isn't that it? He's a man. You know, we've got Corey Haim killed himself. Corey Feldman is talking out about all the sexual predators in Hollywood who are pedophiles, and people didn't listen to them. You know why? Because they were boys. Because they were boys. As far as I'm concerned, an 18-year-old is still a boy. My son's going to turn 18 in less than a week. I would defend my son to the ends of the earth. I don't care if he's 18, 19, 20, 25. I would. A little bit more from Heather Unruh.
This was a criminal act. The room at the club car was very crowded. It was dimly lit. Spacey stuck his hand inside my son's pants and grabbed his genitals. This was completely unexpected, and my son's efforts to shift his body to remove Spacey's hand were only momentarily successful. The violation continued. My son panicked. He froze. He was intoxicated, and Kevin Spacey was insisting that he come with him to a private after-hours party to drink even more.
There are two sides to this argument, obviously. There are those who are concerned that, and I am concerned, that this is a witch hunt. And there are some instances that, you know, honestly, if it's Dustin Hoffman giving you the look up and down, get the hell over it, okay? Who gives a schneik? There's some things that are really bad. If there's somebody using their position of power to try and abuse you, yes. But as far as somebody hugging you the wrong way, you know, really, unless they're really physically groping you or grabbing something, I'm afraid that there's a witch hunt here. We overcompensated, at least in the private sector outside of Hollywood and Washington, D.C. We overcompensated where a lot of people who weren't sexual harassers got accused of it and lost their jobs. My wife said to me, and we were driving her to work this morning. She goes, how the hell did this happen? You know, with all the sexual assault or sexual harassment training and all, how did this happen? It's a good question. Because there are two sets of people in the country. You know, there's us and them. Or the us. Mariah Carey. Apparently, there is a draft lawsuit, and there was a guy who is a former head of security for Mariah Carey, says that she called him a Nazi, a skinhead, a Ku Klux Klan member, and a white supremacist, according to TMZ. Also said she sexually harassed him. And, you know, here's the deal. You're going to be treated like crap, okay? You're going to be treated like crap by a lot of divas in Hollywood, a lot of people in Hollywood, if you're part of the security detail, because there are a lot of nasty people. This guy's name is Michael Anello. Anello says his company worked for Mariah from 2015 to 2017. He was stiffed on $200,000, denied another promised 2 years of work, which have added $511,000 to the tab. She said Mariah humiliated him and his colleagues by referring them to as members of hate groups because she wanted to be surrounded with black guys, not white people. Then there was a trip to Cabo San Lucas, And she asked him to come to her room to move some luggage. And we all know what that is. Move some luggage. Yeah, I know. When he got there, all she was wearing was a see-through negligee. Says he tried leaving, but she insisted he move the luggage. He says he left the room and there was no physical contact. Now, unless he's gay or married, hell yeah, I would have gone for that. I would have gone for Mariah Carey. You kidding me? Mariah Carey offers herself up to me. I'm going to have something to talk about the rest of my life. My friends would say, sure, buddy. Yeah, sure, you did it with Mariah Carey. All right. Oh, hey, I've been watching the Trump trip to China and to Japan and to Korea and Vietnam, and I'm impressed with the way he finesses his way. He's been charming people. He's been, I think, wowing to some degree the Chinese people. Here he is a little bit of Donald Trump saying that he does not blame China for the unfair trade policies.
Both the United States and China will have a more prosperous future if we can achieve a level economic playing field. Right now, unfortunately, it is a very one-sided and unfair one. But I don't blame China. After all, who can blame a country for being able to take advantage of another country for the benefit of its citizens? I give China great credit. But in actuality, I do blame past administrations for allowing this out-of-control trade deficit to take place and to grow.
Okay. I have something kind of fun I want to share with you. It is a montage of Donald Trump saying China. And a friend of mine put this together with the bass guitar. So I'll play it dry here for a second, and then I want you to listen to Donald Trump saying China, accompanied by bass. It's funny.
You go over to China. I love them. China. I have to have my China. China.
Okay, now let's make it like open mic poetry, shall we?
Let's say China. China.
Thank you.
You go over to China. China. You take China. China. I love them. China. I have to have my China. China, because China.
Okay. We got it. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I thought it was funny anyway. Hope you enjoyed it. Real quick, before we go any further, right above me, right over here, right up here, tpublic.com/user/conservatives. We have 65 politically incorrect designs that are very cool. You can put them on T-shirts, on onesies, on hoodies, on sweatshirts, laptop covers, mugs, all of these things. Perfect in time for the holidays. Sometimes war is the answer is good for the veteran in your life, because sometimes it is. If they don't stand, I won't watch. This is about the NFL. We have several NFL designs. We have several Christmas designs out as well. I think you're going to really enjoy. There's Melania Trump or Ivanka Trump wearing one right there. Isn't that neat? Anyway, tpublic.com/ there we are. I say Merry Christmas, deal with it, and Happy Holidays crossed out, and the words Merry Christmas bold. Those are just two, and we got more on the way. So order today, okay? And you'll save some money, because right now, T-shirts on this site, $14. We're adding all of my stuff to the Liberty One TV store, and they've already got some great designs, but they're adding my designs and my friend Sam Cangelosi's designs to that. President Trump's 6-year-old daughter, Arabella Kushner, is the daughter of Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. This is a sweet little girl, and this little girl, who's 6 years old, speaks Mandarin, and did a video for the president of China. I'm going to play a little bit of this, because I just think she's a doll. I'm sure the Trump family will be harangued for this, but here she is introducing a little song and then singing a little song in perfect Mandarin as a 6-year-old.
我唱一个首歌吧。我们的田野，美丽的田野，碧绿的河水流过无边的稻田。
I just think that you've got Donald Trump, Melania Trump there, who's gorgeous and classy, and had she been a Democrat, she'd be the second coming of Jackie O. She is gorgeous. She speaks 4 languages. She's stylish. She's fashionable. She's compassionate. She's charming. And you've got the president of the United States who knows how to work the art of the deal. And you've got this beautiful little girl and Ivanka Trump wowing them with her beauty and her finesse. I think they're blowing the hell out of these guys in China and the Far East. And I think this is going to be very beneficial. As you heard earlier with my friend Chris Butler, already we've seen some things happen that are very positive. So I wish him the best. Oh, we had an election on Tuesday around the country, and the Democrats, of course, are convinced that it is the end of Donald Trump. It is meant to be a complete refutation of Donald Trump's policies. No. 2 governor's races were won by Democrats who were supposed to win. That's it. There were some 3 transgendered candidate, 1 school board, I think 1 city council, 1 legislator in the state of Virginia. And that's a big deal. Whatever, I wish you all the best. It's cool. But in 1 city, after this election, it looks like the entire city council is gay. Let's set this up, shall we?
Bombs are flying. People are dying. Children are crying. Politicians are lying too.
Sing it with me.
Cancer is killing. Texaco's spilling. The whole world's gone to hell, but how are you? I'm super. Thanks for asking. All things considered, I couldn't be better. I'm a thing. I'm feeling super. No, nothing bugs me. Everything is super when you're. Don't you think I look cute in this hat?
A lot of people in this city council look very cute in this hat. Palm Springs City Council now has transgender, bisexual members and is entirely LGBT, or, as they like to say, queer. Lisa Middleton made history as the first openly trans candidate elected to a non-judicial office in California. Victoria Kalowski was elected an Alameda County Superior Court judge in 2010. She and Christy Holstage is a bi woman, won 2 open seats, wow, on the city council in a field of 6 candidates in Tuesday's election. Their election means that the Desert Cities Council is 100% LGBT or queer, according to the Equality California, with representation from across the spectrum of those identities. There's a spectrum there, you see. I am a cisgender male, which people now hate a lot, I guess. Group of Canadian gourmets is hoping to smash misconceptions about HIV transmission 1 plate at a time by opening a pop-up restaurant run entirely by staff infected with the virus. Located in Toronto, the restaurant called June's on Tuesday was serving its first meals prepared by the HIV-positive cooks to dispel any notion that food preparation can spread the virus. Just don't use any sharp objects. Wearing aprons printed with such messages as "Kiss the HIV cook," and "I've got HIV." I got HIV from Prosta. Said no one ever. Okay, there you go. They'll be serving customers who prepaid to reserve their tables. Yeah, that's fine. I'd rather have somebody serve me who has HIV than a TB. Wouldn't you? I think I would rather serve somebody who has HIV than TB. I really would. I would definitely consider that. 1 case of white privilege. I actually believe that it is white privilege. I want to share this real quick. A British council boss has been fired for calling Prince George the symbol of white privilege and was denied pay. Angela Gibbons was fired for a job in 2016 in August after posting comments on Facebook. Former senior manager at the British Council who was fired for branding Prince George a symbol of white privilege has been denied compensation. She basically was commenting about the son, Prince George. She says, I know he's only 2 years old, but Prince George always looks like a effing dickhead. No, that's not good. It's a 2-year-old. Underneath the image, Miss Gibbons commented, white privilege, that cheeky grin is the innate knowledge that he is a royal, rich, advantaged, and will never know any difficulty or hardships in life. Let's find photos of 3-year-old Syrian refugees, children, and see if they look like that. Now, it was kind of a dick way to put it. I mean, it was a dick way to put it. But at the same time, that's white privilege. Now, if you look at royal families around the country, there's a Saudi privilege. There's, I think, Kenya have a... There are African countries that have kings, and that's black privilege, right? Except for, like, North Africa. There's other privileges than white. But this is definitely white privilege. I mean, they're white, and they are privileged, and there's nobody more privileged than the royal family. And I got to tell you, I am not a big fan of the royal family. Whenever I see a story about that, it's not that I don't hate them or anything, but I just have no effing desire to read anything about the damned royal family. I check out the UK Daily Mail all the time, and I love that, but whenever there's an article about the royal family, I could give a rat's behind less about them. My son is going to college next fall. After a couple weeks ago, a controversy erupted after tweets from an Ivy League teaching assistant showed her admitting that she only calls on white students as a last resort. We heard that. Stephanie McCulloch is her name. University of Pennsylvania teaching assistant said, I will always call on my black women first. Other people of color get second. White women come next. And if I have to, white men. College Fix review of online documents shows McCulloch is far from the first instructor to employ the progressive stack in classroom. This is happening all over the country. This is the latest affront to kids who are white, who never did anything wrong with regard to race in their life. And it's sickening. And I'm going to tell you right now, if my son ends up going to University of Kansas and you pull this shit on him, you're going to be hearing from me. You're going to be hearing me not only in person, but you're going to be hearing me across the country on radio stations and on this network and on iTunes. You're going to hear about it. Using a progressive stack, which is lauded by advocates as amplifying oppressed voices and criticized by others as discriminatory, has been used in college classrooms for years and has roots in liberal activism. College Fix found several instances in which scholars have engaged in the practice. Additionally, a sociology professor told Inside Higher Ed progressive stacking dates back at least a couple decades. New Mexico professor Jeffrey Miller denounced the progressive stack method and said it will further alienate universities from their stakeholders. Yeah. According to the conservative website Legal Insurrection, the tactic traces back to at least to Occupy Wall Street. It's been a core part of progressive and academic organizing at least since the Occupy Wall Street protests of 2011. 2014 essay by UC Berkeley PhD candidate Genevieve Painter explained how the Occupy Wall Street movement taught her how to occupy my own classroom, and explains how she and her colleagues brought techniques from the movement into her course. This is sickening, and it's got to stop. A couple of places around the country, including a Harvard law school, the Dean of Students, Marcia Sells, has condemned the posting of "It's okay to be white" stickers on the campus, calling them divisive and a provocation. Is this more so than progressive stacking? 20 handmade stickers bearing the image "It's okay to be white" were posted on light poles and electrical boxes around Cambridge Common and Harvard Square. Dean Sells said that the content of the stickers was intended to divide us from one another. But calling people white privileged or white supremacists just because they are Caucasoid, that's not right. Actually dividing and having separate quarters, separate dorms, separate organizations, separate safe spaces for children and people of color, children in college. According to USA 9, "It's okay to be white" signs represent a concentrated effort to foment racial and political tension. No, it's not. That's horse shit. It's about kids who are being victimized, who don't deserve it, who never had a racist thought in their mind, who came to school because they wanted to learn, and they've got a lot of people who like to blame storm. Maryland High School, Montgomery Blair High School, the same thing, and people were outraged. Officials are investigating the "it's okay to be white" expression. Apparently, the principal explained to a local news station why some were disturbed by the otherwise benign message. "We are taking this seriously, and we are investigating this incident. Our research so far has indicated that this may be part of a concerted national campaign to foment racial and political tension in our school and community." No, it's not. It might be a way to a nationwide. It sounds like it's a nationwide thing, but it's a way of fighting back against the PC bullcrap and the cries of white supremacy, white privilege, and give white kids who've never had a racist thought in their lives a chance like everybody else, rather than calling them something that they don't deserve. Coming up, I'm going to get into why Christmas music may harm your mental health. Do you hear about this sportscaster? And this was vitriolic and it was mean. And I actually was talking about Roy Halladay and his death. And Roy Halladay seemed to be a hell of a guy. He's a pitcher. He had an airplane, and he'd like to fly. He dreamed to be a pilot, and after he retired, he got this plane, and he got this plane. Apparently, is it's like a Sea-Doo with wings. And there was a video. These guys on a boat saw this guy kind of hot dogging around in the air and all that, and then he crashed, and they went over and found the plane, the wreckage. Made no effort to rescue the guy if he was in there, but there was a sports radio show on CBS Boston called Felger and Maserati. And this guy mocked Holladay's decision to take up flying planes as a hobby. And you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do hang gliding. I really would like to do hang gliding. I haven't done it. I've got young kids. I don't think it's as dangerous as some things I could do. I'm not going to do rock climbing, and I'm not going to do skydiving. No. Well, this guy, Michael Felger, got in major trouble because he was kind of a dick about it. He took it too far, and he's been relieved of duty.
I've got a plane in my garage, but look, I can fly it over the water. I can put my hand out the window. Yeah, I'm gonna tweet it.
Okay, now there's that. Okay, and then he took it too far.
Dead, idiot. He got what he deserved.
And then there's clapping. Misguided, immature, stupid freshman mistake by a sports show host. He's done for now anyway. Harvard University, graphic content alert, by the way. University of Massachusetts, Boston. Sorry about that. No, it was Harvard. I'm sorry. It was in Cambridge. Tuesday night, they delved into the ins and outs of anal sex, with the presenter denouncing the stupidity of abstinence and the joys of putting things in your butt. I told you it was graphic. The workshop was held as part of the Ivy League's University Sex Week, which launched Monday and runs through the 12th. Titled, What in the Butt? Anal 101, drew 50 students. Remember, it's about practice, said the presenter, Natasha, a representative of the Cambridge-based adult shop Good Vibrations. She said, "Come on up front, guys. We're going to have some dirty fun. Not all men have penises. Not all women have vaginas. The B-hole is a great sexual equalizer. All humans have one. They're like opinions." The crowd appeared to be enthusiastic, asking detailed questions about anal intercourse. One guy even showed up in a hot dog costume. Duke University now offering an annual scholarship to students who receive need-based aid and also identify as being LGBTQ. If you're any of those, just apply. If you're straight, need not apply. But here's the deal. It's only people who identify. Okay? Carolina's Gay and Lesbian Scholarship at Duke University was endowed to encourage and reward involvement in the LGBT community. The scholarship helps fund the education of gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender undergraduate students from North or South Carolina or Duke. Scholarship is partially confidential. No reference to the LGBT community is made on any of the acceptance forms in order to protect those individuals. This is from the website. Scholarship is semi-confidential. The words gay, lesbian, LGBT do not appear on it. Is it legal? The university says yes. There are a number of minority scholarships already available to college students. This scholarship was created to serve students who identify as a sexual minority. So all you got to do is identify. So if they're not going to say anything about it, why in the hell wouldn't you, if you needed the money, why didn't you go ahead and just, I can't identify as a black guy. I don't think that they would agree with me on that. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about Christmas music and how it's bad for your health. Psychologist in Great Britain says your actions don't make you a Grinch if you don't like Christmas music. It's actually bad for your mental health. Clinical psychologist Linda Blair claims the constant barrage of Christmas tunes too early in the season forces people to remember all the things they have to do before the holiday. Blair says the songs are a reminder to buy presents, cater parties, organize travel. You're simply spending all of your energy trying not to hear what you're hearing. Psychologists added that store workers are most at risk for being worn down by the catchy beats. Can you imagine? She states that hearing the same songs over and over each day makes it hard for a struggle to tune it out. Yeah, I know. Remember those Billy Bass fish? And people who worked at those stores, they wanted to crush those damn things. And like I was at CVS, and they have these cards, these greeting cards, and they sing songs, and today's your birthday. And if you're working in those stores as a minimum wage employee, you just want to punch the snot out of somebody. Just punch the snot out of somebody. Yeah, it's a little much. I have a Christmas rage story here. Madison, Wisconsin, a guy was arrested after he threw a beer bottle at a bartender who changed the music in the bar from Black Sabbath to Oh Christmas Tree, or a Christmas tune. Farm Tavern Bar, Moreland Road. A disturbance was announced, and the term of the suspect left the bar. The guy was intoxicated, got violent. He was listening to Black Sabbath, and then they changed his Christmas music, and he chugged his beer and threw it at the bartender's head. Yeah, you don't want to interrupt Black Sabbath, or Can you imagine in a person in a bar that's, and it's probably all white people here, but if you're in a middle-aged white person bar and a Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi's playing, and somebody stopped it with Christmas music, it'd be all sorts. It'd be a riot. I worked at radio stations that started playing Christmas music on November the 1st. There's a special place reserved in hell for program directors who start playing Christmas music November the 1st, and it's a ratings gimmick. It works generally for one station in a market, and it's usually the big station that appeals to adults, 35, 64. It's usually a hot or soft AC station, adult contemporary station, and generally they have they own the territory of it, and there's other stations in the market who try the same thing by playing all Christmas music, and they fail miserably. And they drive their employees to drink and antidepressant medications. That's all I have to say about that. Did it a couple times. One of the reasons I'm not in music radio anymore. Tampa Bay Times says that when different stores start playing Christmas music, maybe they still play other stuff too, but it's when they start mixing in the holiday music. Here's what they found. Different stores and when they start playing their music. Okay? Black Friday is the most popular time to start. That's when you'll hear it at Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Nordstrom, Foot Locker, Pottery Barn. That's nice. JCPenney will start on Thanksgiving. Walmart will start on Monday, this coming Monday. Belk and H&M start today, the 9th. Office Depot and Office Max start on Saturday, which will be the 11th. Sears and Kmart started last week. Sears needs some help. And Best Buy was the first. They started on the 22nd of last month, the 22nd of October. A Best Buy just closed up the street for me. I'm thinking that might have been the reason. I could be wrong. All right, it's about time for me to get the heck out of here. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please, if you do, make sure to check out tpublic.com/user/conservatees for one of the many designs that you can have put on a variety of different things. Also, you will be able to find them on the Liberty One TV page in the store, and if you become a member of Liberty One TV, you get discounts. Liberty One TV, it's very cheap. All it is 33 cents a day. That is $10 a month, $99 a year, and it, of course, is a perfect Christmas gift. All right, it's time for me to get out of here, guys. In the meantime, have a blessed day, and we will see you again tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.